Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, August 16th, 2022. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You'll notice right now the ES has been in a very bullish up mode here ever since the beginning of July. Very good rejections off the previous quarter's closes. A very clear upward continuation here toward the previous quarter's midpoint, and now through that previous quarter's mid and continuing higher after breaking through the top of that narrow 8-day range. This narrow 8-day range from the breakout low still projects a 43.60 target up above. 43.60 takes you right in this zone about right here, which is also right around where the yearly composite R1 is right now. So this thing's made quite the turnaround. The very last time it tested the previous quarter's close here, it also hit S3 on the yearly bands, and since then it's snapped back toward VWAP. That's value on the year, and now pushing through. Very, very bullish here from a short and medium term perspective. Obviously we still have that higher trend line, that upper trend line coming across the highs up here to really show that this market is still downward sloping for the most part. We could still find some sort of rejection here and pull back at some point, but until then, until we see some sort of definitive rejection and turnaround, this market is still headed higher on the short-term basis. You see a very bullish PEMA trigger zone. Any pullback right now could be a continuation higher for one last continuation up toward that 43.60 zone. So even if we pull back, say, to 4,200 here and retest composite VWAP from above, that could be a buy opportunity for a push toward 4,400 up above. So very good, nice continuation still playing out. At the moment, about as narrow a range as you can get. 24% of ADR, 15 points. Look at this tiny day right here, 15 points right now, 24% of ADR. This thing's been averaging 64 points per day on a 10-day basis, 66 points per day on a 5-day basis. So right now to be trading 15%, that's very, very narrow. I would say right now any morning weakness is an opportunity to defend for a continuation into the end of the day. We're looking for a checkmark trend day up today. And again, even if we were to see a bigger pullback over the next 1 or 2 days, that could still provide an opportunity to defend and push this thing higher until proven otherwise. Taking a look at the NQ, you'll see right here the NQ looking very similar, very bullish overall since the turn of July there, since the beginning of Q4. Very nice rounded bottom accumulation pattern here. Price pushing back above the 13K level and holding on a retest. A couple of buy signals which we've pointed out, especially the first one here that was suggesting that we were turning around. This recent bounce right here has more upside that can take us higher toward 14K. You have the R1 right there as well. So we're still looking for more strength up ahead in the near term. Right now, a very narrow range as well. 21% of average, just 61.5 points today. And this thing's been averaging 300 points per day over the last 5 and 10-day split. So 61 points of 300. Overall, again, any morning weakness could be seen as a buying opportunity for late day strength. If we happen to see a bigger pullback over the next 1 or 2 days, again, any test into the bullish PEMA trigger zone could provide another buying opportunity up. Call it 13,300. Could take us up to about 14K up ahead. So we could still be looking at another buy the dip opportunity up ahead for the NQ, but right now very, very narrow range at the moment. Taking a look at crude oil. Crude oil had quite the movement in the prior session here. It's dropped back to the 87.22s. A little bit of a bounce late in the day, but you can see right now showing a little bit of strength back within the range. So if you just kind of look at just the short-term range, you have 87 and you have 95. That's your current range. There was a turnaround off the previous session's low price yesterday and a higher low this morning off the 88s. Today expecting a range somewhere around $4, maybe $3.50 to $4 of range today, bouncing off the 88s. Could open up a return back to the previous week's close price at 92.10. So that could be about a +4 right there. or thereabouts. So looking for price to rally a bit toward 91 to 92 today, off today's low. Any failure to hold 87s at some point could lead to the next drop down. And if we do start to see a move lower, you start to work down through that January range. Right now we're sitting on the January FOMC key level, 87.22. A failure at 87 opens up all of the movement here through January into the January low. That'll take you back towards 75. So right now, big time support at 87.22. Looking at Bitcoin, right now Bitcoin trading mostly flat here, not really seeing much action. Again, another narrow range here, just 470 points of range, and this thing's been averaging 11 to 1200 points per day. Still sitting there around the previous month's close price. Still have a little bit of an upward slope here, but clearly this thing ran into overhead resistance yesterday, which was prior support before. So if you take this major strong low right there and bring it across, it was also yesterday's high. That's basically the top end of that market structure right there. If price can push through that 25.3, it opens up all of the range back to 32 and the top of this previous range right here, which also takes you right back to yearly value. Yearly composite VWAP is sitting right around 32K. So that's the next level to push through. We may see a pullback in an attempt to push through the 25.3 level to get back toward 32. This is going to be a very important pivot right here to push through at some point. For right now, we're still range bound, still kind of quiet, but the rotation off the lows has been noticeable, and above 25K could open up the next market structure above. For Ether futures here, this one has been much more bullish overall. It has doubled already off the lows, rallying from 1,000 to 2,000 yesterday. This one has also overcome prior support as well. So if you bring back that major pivot day, which coincides with the one we saw in Bitcoin a moment ago, price has already pushed through that level and is working through the next market structure above. So we could easily see more strength toward 2100, maybe 2200 above. We still have a very bullish PEMA trigger zone, so even if we see, you can see this narrow 4-day range right here, if we pull back and start to bounce off that range, we could get the next move up ahead. This thing could be, say, 1750 back to 2150, something like that. Now, we do have a major level at 16K here, or 1600 rather. A drop as deep as 1600 could get you up to that level as well. So somewhere between 16 and 1700 could be a swing pullback zone for a continuation higher up ahead. So this thing continues to show some strength. But after recovering this pivot low here, that's the low that bulls want to defend on any kind of retest for a continuation up in the near term. So looking for further strength in the short term here unless price starts to break back below 1600. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.